And we should be live. We are live from South London. Let me know in the chat that you can hear me properly. Welcome everyone. We've got about 9 minutes before to officially get started. Let me know if you can hear me properly. If any of you was completely new to me, if you're wondering what you've clicked on, this is a bit of a community catch-up. It's an Ask Me Anything question. I do one every year. Ask Me Anything session, not question, but there'll be questions through the session. Hi Matthew, nice to see you here. And if any of you was completely new to me, it's probably not the most exciting video. This is just a little community catch-up. What I usually do is live stream walks across London and beyond. You can hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Janie. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Jennifer. So we've got about 9 minutes before to start. We're just waiting for everyone to connect. Let me give you a glimpse of the view already. Not that we are here for the view today, but I am in Burgess Park in South London. You can see the city straight ahead. Loud and clear. Thank you, Gary. So I'm sure you'd have recognized the Shard, but you can also see the City of London from here. So this is my local park. When am I coming to Greece? Not for now, Mary, but I'm sure I'll be back down there one day. Hi, Janet. Nice to see you here, and welcome, Sandy, and welcome everyone that just joined. So yeah, we've got the City of London down this way. Burgess Park is quite large. I actually live on the other side down this way, but the forecast was not very nice. So I decided to come down here because behind the trees there's the Bridge to Nowhere. You might have heard of the Bridge to Nowhere because we talked about it before. I did a couple of tours down here, mainly when we did the Old Kent Road on the Monopoly board. So the Bridge to Nowhere is a bridge that leads absolutely nowhere. It's just above a former canal. So if it rains, I'll have to go under the bridge. Yeah, beautiful park. Well, quite a long park. Oh, there's a doggy friend there. I have to be careful with doggies. I got bitten by a dog in Skegness, not last weekend, the weekend before. Hi, Tina. Have I ever seen a ghost figure or shadow? You know what, Tina? I'll tell you in 7 minutes. Because I don't want to start before it's officially time. If I forget, you remind me. But have you? Have any of you? Let us know in the chat if you've seen any. Well, actually, there was a ghost in my hotel room 3 days ago, but I'll tell you once we officially kick off. Well, I don't know if it was a ghost, but someone playing with electricity systems for sure. Yeah, you might wonder why on earth did I decide to do it from the park, knowing that it's raining, or it might be raining. It's because my internet at home is not very reliable. I never know what I'm going to get in terms of signal. Sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's dreadful. So it's always safer to be in the park because I know the signal is good here. And welcome Linda and welcome everyone else that just joined. We still have about 6 minutes to go. So we'll just wait for everyone to connect.
Oh, shit. Wow.
And it is nearly 8 p.m. UK time. So it's still bright. Well, bright. It's a bit grey, but it's still daytime.
Yeah, then you do it by
Another doggy. They're everywhere. Yeah, I was at a kids football tournament in Skegness 2 weeks ago, as I usually do in May, working as a photographer. So I was wearing a high vis on the pitch because so the people can see me. And there's a dog that jumped on me and bit me. Luckily, it didn't go through my skin and trousers because they were. I've got those. I was wearing those trousers that were quite strong, not thick but strong. But yeah, my leg was very bruised. The lady, the owner, was ever so sorry. She thought maybe it was the high vis, you know. And I suppose the footballs as well can get dogs a bit excited, you know, to have the balls going from one side to another and not being for them, maybe. And hello Dessa, and hello everyone that I've missed. We've got a few minutes before we officially kick off with the questions. Let me see what time it is precisely. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go. Yeah, after that, she put him on a leash, and my colleagues were like, "Oh, you should go and report her," and you know, well, you know, it happens. It's not. It's lucky it was me and not one of the kids playing football because they were playing with shorts and stuff. So. And welcome time, Lord. So we've got about 1 minute to go. We kick off at exactly 8 p.m. UK time. So we've got quite a few questions to go through. Most of you have asked them on Facebook, so I've got screenshots and I've blurred, I covered your last names because when it's on YouTube, it's a bit easier because on YouTube, I know your name is already public on YouTube, but on Facebook, I don't know whether you want your last name to be exposed, so I've cropped them out. And I do apologize if any of you, a couple of you have posted your questions in the chat, like days ahead or weeks ahead sometimes. I've spotted 2 that I've screenshotted, but if anyone else did that, the conversation in the chat does disappear after a while. So if I've missed any, don't be shy, ask again. And welcome Martin from Canada. Nice to see you here. And welcome everyone else. I know some people are a bit quieter in the chat, but you're very welcome as much as anyone in the chat. So we are in Borges Park. And we've got probably 1 minute now, let's see. No, it is officially time to start. So welcome guys, without further ado, let's go. So, Tina was asking about ghosts. I think I did have one in my, I was on a tour last week, taking a group of Canadians, people from Quebec, across the country really. We went down to Bath and Windsor, Stonehenge, Harrogate, Cotswolds, Stratford-upon-Avon, Liverpool, Chester. Anyway, in Harrogate I was in a spa, a Victorian spa, which was quite cool because I went to the one next door. That's the one where a very famous or infamous disappearance mystery was solved. But I'll show you in a little short tomorrow. Anyway, my hotel in... I'm putting myself into bed, got my contacts out of my eyes already, and I'm just trying to take the bathroom light off to go to bed. That worked, but that literally turned on the, the ventilation system in the bathroom, which was really loud, so I couldn't sleep with that. There was no other buttons anywhere, and I definitely didn't touch any other button. And I was like, okay, never mind, I'm gonna put my contacts back on and I'll go and ask reception. And as I put my contacts back on, I spotted another button like 2 meters high. There's no way I would have touched the button myself because first it was 2 meters high, and without my contact lenses I wouldn't even I've seen the button, so I believe it was a ghost or someone trying to show their presence. And it was a Victorian spa, so a lot of people would come and take the good waters of Harrogate to cure themselves from any disease they might have. So many might have died in my room. Some might have decided to stay. Who knows? Anyway, let's see the next question. You know what? I'm gonna flip the camera around every time I get the question, because otherwise you'd have a big zoomed in position on my eyes, because sometimes it's quite difficult to read. Right, Deborah is asking, is there any book you've read over and over? Is there any book everyone recommended that you totally disliked? And is there any book author that you just cannot bring yourself to read? Interesting. Is there any book I've read over and over again? No, absolutely not. I don't read for pleasure. I hardly ever read any fictions anyway. I'm dyslexic, so I'm quite a slow reader. So no, I'm never gonna read a book again, especially if I remember the story. So no. Are there any books that people recommended and I totally disliked? No. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna bother with it. And I'm the same with TV series. You know, when someone, I think the one I've been told over and over to watch was Peaky Blinders. Everyone was like, "Oh, you'd love it." No, if I'm not hooked with the first episode, I just don't bother. I'm not that patient, so I don't really trust people when they tell me I would love something. If I don't get hooked straight away, I just don't. And the last one: are there any books or author that you just cannot bring yourself to read? You know what? Actually, there is one. There's a book I bought on Audible, but I still bought it. Because I was told that I should read it because one of the characters was inspired by me. I've clearly met the author because she's on my Facebook friends. I don't remember meeting her precisely, but anyway. It is a lesbian comedy club, and apparently there's a French stalker in the club. And the lady that owns the club, she was like, "Oh, you should read it because I'm in the book, you're in the book, we are in the book." And I think it's probably just a few lines about the French stalker. I don't know how I could have come across as some kind of a groupie. I don't remember meeting the lady, but I think maybe she didn't realize I was a comedian myself, or maybe I went to say hello in the green room because my friends were performing and maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to tell you the name of the book because I don't want to promote it. But yeah, I should read it really just out of curiosity, but I don't know how far down the book it is, and I just cannot be bothered. But yeah, it's on my Audible list. One day I will read it or listen to it. Now, next question. You don't like Peaky Blinders either? Maybe I would if I had the patience to stick around till, the second or the third episode. Maybe I would like it. Who knows? What would be your dream job? Do you regret any of your life choices? If you won £1 million, what would you do with it? Asks Linda. What would be my dream job? Well, I already do one of the best jobs in the world, really. I get paid to talk to people and take them to nice places and tell them stuff I find interesting. That's a great job if you ask me. But if I had to have one I'm dreaming about or one that's not easy reach, I guess I'll be a stage actor or movie actor, but I think I'll be a bit, because there's a lot of waiting with movies. I think a stage actor is more fun. Do I regret any of my life choices? No. I mean, it's not a subject I like to ponder, really, because obviously I think it's better not to have any regrets. But no, I don't think so, or nothing major. I guess we've all made mistakes, and if we had to do it again, we could. I don't think I want to do it again anyway. If I could win £1 million, what would I do with it? invest in property. Oh, we've got a flying geese or whatever. Yeah, I'll buy, I think I'll buy 2 apartments, one next to another, one for me and one that I could rent to have some passive income. And also the tenants / neighbors could maybe take care of my pet raccoon when I go traveling. I don't have a pet raccoon, but I guess if I had £1 million, well, it's illegal, but maybe I'll have a cat. So yeah, that's what I'll do with it. Tina, that's quite similar. That's quite similar to a question that's gonna come up later on. But top 3 locations I want to visit. I've never been. I want to go everywhere, really. But when I go to Mozambique, or I've not been much in Africa, really. When I go, some of them are coming. I'm going in January, but when I go to Laos and Vietnam, but I think I'm going next year. Where else? Well, I'd like to go to Canada, Quebec and stuff, but that's a bit trickier because I don't want to go in the winter because it's freezing. And in the summer, I don't really have much time off. I mean, I can take the time off, but that would cost me much more because obviously, I'm self-employed and there's much more work for me in the summer. So I don't know when I'll get any opportunities to go to Canada. Mozambique is awesome, says Nikki. Oh, I guess it's not too far from South Africa. Yeah, I don't even know much about Mozambique, but I've met a few people in hostels that were like, hey, I know you. Not to me, but to others. They were like, oh yeah, we've met in Mozambique. I was like, I didn't realize there were so many backpackers in Mozambique. I should go. Anyway, next question. Shin is asking, which part of France did I grow up in? What was I working with before live streaming? What part of France? I've moved a lot, but I was born in Tours. I grew up in La Baule, fancy beach resort in Brittany. Although some people would tell you it's not Brittany, but I think it is Brittany. Then we moved on to the south, so French Riviera really. And then we moved to New Caledonia, French island, next to Brisbane, Australia, so in the Pacific. Then we moved to Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. Then we came back to Marseille. Then I studied in Aix-en-Provence. So yeah, quite a few. I guess we might say I was lucky to travel. Although when you are a kid or a teenager, it can be quite difficult to make new friends all the time and move, Yeah, I could do live streams in Quebec. I guess there's a lot of history. If I was to come, of course. Now, what did I used to do before to be live streaming? I still do. I work as a tour guide. So that's how I started live streaming because of the COVID lockdowns. So we didn't have much in-person tourism at the time. Right, let's see. Apologies, I know every time I'm touching the screen, the camera moves a little bit. It's to be expected because I have to touch the screen. Right, Tish is asking, who's my celebrity crush? Who are my favorite artists? Where would I most like to live in London? What's the one place in the world I would never visit? Right. Who's my celebrity crush? Jessica Gunning from The Outlaws or Baby Reindeer or Pride and much more. I like to keep it realistic in terms of geography. It has to be a celebrity I can meet at the polling station. Because I've got some reasons to believe we have the same polling station. I once read the thing is I vote by post anyway, so I'm not going to the polling station. But I did read an interview once. The journalist went to meet Richard Gere Richard Gadd in North London, and then Jessica Gunning, so the both of them from Baby Reindeer, and he described the locations where he met them, and he said he had met Jess Gunning in an art centre in South London that had been converted for the day in a polling station. And I was like, I know exactly what that is, and I think that's mine. So yeah, I like to keep it realistic. No, I'm not married, no. Favorite artist, Olivia Colman, Nicola Walker, well, that's for actresses at least. Where would I most like to live in London? Here. I'm not going anywhere. Obviously, if I had a bit more money, I'll probably upgrade from my tiny room in a former nursing house to my own apartment maybe one day, if I won the lottery. But I wouldn't really go anywhere else. I mean, it's not. I love my area. What's the place in the world I would never visit? I don't really have any. I think I want to go everywhere. I want to go to North Korea one day. I think some countries are obviously a bit more difficult to visit at the moment, but the minute they're fully open to the tourists to tourism, I'll go. Oh, I'll try to anyway. Right. Let's see next. There we go. Sandy is asking, how does your accommodation with numerous flatmates work out? I thought I heard you say a large amount of flatmates on a tour. Oh, but that's funny because I've just mentioned it again. So I am what we call a property guardian. Well, I was. Technically now I'm not anymore, but it's the same shitty contract. So I live in a former nursing home in Camberwell. So that's property guardian. It's a deal they do when, to rent a commercial building, you need some kind of a license anyway. And that's what they do to avoid squatters in commercial buildings. So it could be a former school or a former church or whatever it might be. They put people in there for a cheap rent. It's no longer cheap, but to avoid actual squatters. And so that's what I did for a few years. Then we got kicked out, and then I moved in again a couple of days later. But technically, my contract is still quite crap. They can kick me out anytime. They can change the price anytime. They can change my room anytime. They can come into my room anytime. We're not allowed to have candles or stuff like that. So it's quite strict, but that allows me to have a slightly cheaper rent than the rental market here. You think I'm one of the only few people that would go anywhere? Well, you know what? If I was to go to North Korea, I'll probably be good with my videos. I'll get more views. So why not? But yeah. Was that a second? No, that was it for the question, right? Next. What destination is my dream place to visit? I wouldn't say any of them is my dream, because I try to make it happen. Like if there's a place I want to go, well, obviously you need to work a lot for the money, and you need to make commitments to get the money to travel. But I mean, from the end of the month, I'm not going to have a single day off until September, because I want to be able to travel in the winter, so I don't take a day off for 3 months. So yeah, I try to make it happen. So, and sometimes I don't understand people. Like when I went to Peru, I had a couple of people saying, oh, it's my dream to go there. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, for me, like I wouldn't say it to their face, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, then do it, just do it. There are so many dreams that that are not something that you can do, like we all have limitations on, but going somewhere, usually when it's a a country open to tourism, and if you're not struggling too much with money, usually you can make it happen. But anyway, if you want a list, we've kind of touched on it earlier, but I want to go everywhere, really. I need to go to many more countries in Africa. I need to go, well, I need to finish the European map. So I still have a few countries in Europe I need to explore. Although you can never finish a map. I mean, even in a country, like, if you go and you see one city, two cities, you've not seen the country, but so yeah, many. Right, let's see. So I'm taking it slow because I don't want to skip any of your questions. That wouldn't be fair. Right. What is one place you want to visit but are afraid to go? Have you ever met a celebrity? What was your biggest fear as a child? Okay, that's a lot. So, places I'm afraid to go, none. I mean, I guess we've kind of just covered that a little bit. Yes, exactly. Life is too short, says Janet. Yes. Well, I guess traveling is expensive for many people, but I'm the cheapest backpacker ever. I stay in the worst places. I mean, some of the places I've stayed at, you'd be shocked. I mean, like in Sri Lanka, I can tell you some of the $7 a night hotel we shared were not exactly the most... hold on, I've got... So, you know what? Let me do Tina before it goes up. So many Tina. I have tried to write it down one day, but I've met at least 25. If any of you was completely or fairly new to me and you don't know what a Heygo guide is, that was a streaming platform I streamed on in COVID times. Because I think there might be a few people that might have discovered me since. I don't know whether they're watching this type of community session, but just in case. Right, Heygo guide. So I've met Joe last week, the Stratford-upon-Avon. In the UK, let's start with the UK and Ireland. Hazel, Dave in Ireland. That's it for Ireland. I've met Paul, well, both Paul London, Paul in Scotland. I've met Sam in Scotland as well. I've met another one in Scotland quickly on the street when I was with Paul, but I don't remember his name. I've met John in York. I've met Gary in London. I've met Alex in London. I met Leonie, of course. I've met Ian. I've met Paul from Enfield, the Kenyan tour guide's dad. What's her name again? Start with a C. Anyway, those two. And globally, I've met. This could go on forever. Who did I meet? Many more. Apostolis in Macedonia. Who else? Patrick in Banff. I think there are many more, but let's exactly Paul Baker and Gerard as well. Of course, I've met Gerard. Yes, he's probably one of the closest to me. He's in South London. No, I've not met Kendall, and yeah, I've met Paul Barker's daughter as well. And but there are more. There's a long list. Yeah, right now. So, have I ever met a celebrity? Yes. Yes, I think the best one. It's I probably told you that story maybe before. I think I might have been asked before. Victoria Beckham. I spent at least 20 minutes with Victoria Beckham. I had no idea who she was. I knew she was famous because she was a pain. And I knew she was famous because everyone was staring at us, the Hamleys manager and stuff. I used to work as a photographer in Hamleys years and years ago. And we were only the second company across the globe that could print on iPhone cases. And Victoria came with one of their sons. I took pictures of the son. Didn't know it was Victoria then. Then she wanted to make a phone case for her husband, David. And so it's quite complicated to explain, but when you don't have the person there, so you cannot take their photograph yourself, you look through their phone to find a good photo. And for a phone case, you need a photo that's quite long. So I was actually scrolling through our phone, looking at family photos, still no idea. Couldn't recognize even David, but because for me, it's a mystery how people like Victoria Beckham, she's a model, right? You'd think she'd know what is a good photograph. Yet, she would show me photographs where they have like 5 pixels on their face in the dark. It's not good enough for anything printed, really. Anyway, we eventually agreed on a family photo, a table photo that was quite long because I needed some space on the edge to cover the edge of the phone case. Anyway, to cut the story short, we agreed on the photo. I still don't know who she is. And to get the photo, I plugged in her iPhone into my Mac. And then she went like, no, and unplugged it. And I realized because I was going to access all the photographs in her phone, you know. And then I was like, okay, you know what? If you don't want to plug it in, send it to your driver. She had a driver, but it was a bodyguard, really. Send it to your driver because he's on a BlackBerry. And then with his BlackBerry phone, he can send it to me by Bluetooth. So she emailed it to the driver. And the driver, instead of sending it to me by Bluetooth, is actually emailed me her email address. No photo, just the email address. I can tell you it's Victoria number at victoriabeckham.com. And then I was like, now I get it. And I still didn't have the photo. So then the driver had to try Bluetooth again and stuff. But yeah, then I understood why everyone was staring at us. And then I understood why she was a bit, because she didn't want me to leave the phone case on the desk because usually they come and collect it anytime. She was like, no, they might come and take it. They might. And I'm like, who is there? But she probably meant the paparazzi or, you know, whoever, you know. Tina, she was so skinny. I mean, I remember her from the 90s. Although none of the Space Girls I would recognize today, you know, even, you know, Mel B, Mel C, Ginger Spice, I wouldn't recognize them on the street now. They've grown a bit older. I mean, I obviously knew who she. I mean, I knew who she was. I just didn't recognize her. Not that I would have really cared anyway. David as well came to. I used to work at the Natural History Museum, Ice Rink as a photographer. David Beckham came down there as well. And Rishi Sunak. I mean, Rishi, that was quite funny. That was just before he became Prime Minister. So I'm on the ice taking photos. I didn't even really work there anymore. I was just helping for one day. And I'm approaching this guy and his daughter to take his photo. I actually did a photo of the two of them. And then I was like, hold on, are you who I think you are? Because I didn't remember his name. We used to see him on the COVID announcement, and he was like, yeah, nice to meet you, I'm Rishi. So yeah, I'm not extremely good at recognizing any celebrities, to be honest. Right, yes, there was another question in the same question. What was my biggest fear as a child? Fire. I used to have nightmares of fires in my house. Different houses, because I've moved a lot, but always the same nightmare that my house was on fire. And then I would actually sometimes survive. I'd run off on the street and I'd leave my family to die. I'd just run off myself, didn't wake anyone. And then I'd be kidnapped. So I'd be running on the street with my pajamas and be kidnapped. So I might have died in a fire in a past life, because apparently that's quite common of kids with past life related memories to have reoccurring nightmares about it. and I'm still today a bit not scared of fire, but you know, when you have fire safety, well, even though I live in my former nursing home, we've got some fire safety stuff we should respect. No one does until the council comes with an inspector, and then suddenly I don't like it. I think we should, you know, it's best for, I don't care because I'm right by the safety exit anyway, but yeah, I might have. And sometimes, you know what, New Year's Eve, because I'm actually a bit scared of fireworks as well. New Year's Eve, I was convinced there was going to be a firework accident and a fire somewhere, and I thought I'll be here in London, but I actually, well, the party where I was boring anyway, but I didn't want to be there when they brought the fireworks because I thought there'll be a tragedy. And I left, and all night I was convinced that there was going to be a fire tragedy with fireworks. And you know what? There was. Not here, but in Switzerland, you know, that horrible tragedy that happened in a nightclub with those tiny, you know, those little, in French we call them the Bengal candles. I don't know what you call them in English. They're like mini fireworks you put on champagne bottles. So yeah, my fear was actually, it actually happened, just not here. Oh, you had a reoccurring nightmare about a tsunami, Nikki. Well, you know what? It might be past life related. Who knows? Oh, what did Tarek say? Hold on, let me see. I've missed Tarek. Oh, talking about the ballet. Okay. Right, next. Let me see. Celebrity child. Janie is asking, who's my historical hero? I guess I have a few. I would say a lot of the SOE agents through the Second World War. Because there's a lot of people that have done amazing stuff in life, but, you know, if you are in a, I don't know, you're stuck in a tragedy and you save lives, you didn't choose to go, you know, you just happen to be there. Those, you know, I'm thinking about Noor Inayat Khan, for example. I did a tour about her a few years ago. Or Virginia Woolf, the SOE agent that had a wooden leg that went to Lyon. You know, those agents have chosen to go in Nazi-occupied Europe to work as a secret agent. So they've really put themselves at great risk because most of them didn't come back. So yeah, this type of people. Right, next. Caroline is asking, if you had unlimited funds, where would you live in London or elsewhere? In London for sure, and I don't think I'll go very far. I mean, I might get a bit closer to the river, yeah, maybe by the Borough Market or something. But I'd probably stay in Southwark, which is where I already live. Well, you've seen the Shard. I mean, that's the Borough Market down there, so I'm not far from the river anyway. And this area is very convenient because I can cycle to Buckingham Palace in 20 minutes, cycle to the Tower of London in 20 minutes. So it's very convenient, and it's still a bit up and coming, you know, a bit hipsterish. I'm quite close to Peckham and arty scenes, really. Right, next. Cindy was asking, what do you do for your day job for paying living expenses? I'm a tour guide. That's my day job. That's still. And before to be a tour guide, I used to work as a photographer. But I had enough of that because I was doing a lot of underwater photography and stuff. So I had a bit of a chlorine overdose. Linda is asking, where is Linda? I've not seen you tonight. Linda is asking, which king or queen of England would I like to interview? Well, I'm guessing we are allowed kings and queens of the past, because otherwise, if you're asking me between Charles and Camilla, maybe Camilla, because she doesn't get as many interviews. But kings of the past, I would say King Arthur, if indeed a King Arthur there was. So at least I'll get some answers. Although one might argue he wasn't a king of England, he would have been a king of some Wessex or something. Or maybe even a king of Brittany. We don't know for that. We don't know for sure whether he was a king in Great Britain or in Little Britain. But at least if I interviewed him, I would know. Am I a great British citizen? No, I'm not, Tina. I could be, but that would cost me about £2,000. I'm not a big fan of financial discrimination, so no, I'm not. It wouldn't give me much apart from the right to vote for general elections or referendum and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if the politics were changing, if we maybe moved on to a very nationalist political party, maybe I would have to. But yeah, it cost about £2,000. That's months of holidays for me. Right. This. If I had to go back in time, where would I go? I'd probably go to Praia de Luz in Portugal in, is it 2007? Yeah, I think it's 2007. So I'll go down to the holiday resort where the little Maddie McCain disappeared, and I'll go and see what really happened. Right, next. It's Linda again. Where in the United States would I like to visit? I'd like to go to Mardi Gras in Louisiana. Well, I suppose I'll have to go to the East Coast as well. I've never been to New York or Boston or anywhere down this way. So one day I should. I'm fairly well traveled in the US on the other side because I was an exchange student in Washington State. So I went down to Oregon, Nevada, California, but not anywhere east really. Right, let's see this one. If you were treated to an expensive meal and absolutely had to go, where in England would you eat and what would you have to eat? Right. Well, if someone is paying for me, I'll go the further away. So I'll go to Cornwall because Cornwall is quite expensive and I've not been. So if every time I try to go to Cornwall, we end up going somewhere else because it's just expensive. The trains, the hotels, everything is expensive. So yeah, I'd go to Cornwall for sushi maybe. I'm not a massive foodie. I don't go to posh restaurants. I'm not. That's not what I like to spend my disposable income with. But if I'm being treated, yeah, I'll have sushis in Cornwall. Right. So where were we? Here. Ash is asking, what's my favorite place to visit in the world? I don't really have a favorite because I like to go to new places. So my favorite is somewhere I've not been yet, I guess. Although if I had to choose the places I've already been, I guess maybe the Philippines because there's so much to see, so many islands and people are lovely and it's very cheap and it's not yet overly, well, most islands are not yet overly touristy. Right, Trish is asking, if you were asked out on a date but didn't like that person, would you still go? No. Well, if I'm aware it's a date, because I'm not I'm the type of person that, I never notice if anyone fancies me. I would never know unless you come and check me and you're like, hey, I fancy you. I would have no idea. So I might accept by accident, but otherwise, if I'm aware it is a date, no, I wouldn't go. What's my favorite everyday type food? Everyday, I don't know, Asian food anyway, like like Thai or Vietnamese or even Indian, anything in Asia, because I'm not a big cheesy fan. And in Europe, well, especially in French or Italian food, you always have a lot of cheese everywhere, or cream. In East Asia, they don't use as much cream as we do, or cheese. I did avoid the rain so far, but let me show you. I don't know how long it's gonna last because it's getting very grey down here. But once again, if it did rain, there's a bridge to nowhere down there where we can shelter. Now let me get the next question out. Sorry, I'm being careful not to skip any. It must be this one. If I skipped any, don't be shy, ask me at the end. If I could have any animal as a pet, what would I have? A raccoon or a washing baby rat. Because raccoons in French are called raton laveur, so that would literally translate into a washing baby rat. Because the raccoons, if they pick up a piece of grape or anything, they'll wash it before to eat it. They've got those little fingers and everything, they're cute. So I love a raccoon, but I'm afraid it's illegal here. So I'd probably have to move to the US. I think in some states in the US it's okay. Not all of them. And if I'm not allowed a raccoon, then I'll guess I'll have a cat. Right. You knew it's a raccoon. Have you read, Janet is asking, have you read Patricia Cornwall's Jack the Ripper book? And what are my thoughts on her idea of the killer's identity? What do I think of the DNA evidence? Okay. Patricia Cornwall's book, yes, I have it on Audible. I have listened to part of it, not all of it. I did fall asleep a couple of times. Not because of Patricia as a writer, just because I was on the plane and that was the point to put myself to bed. I think her theories, well, it's we know it started with a hoax. We know it's that guy that pretended to be a descendant of Walter Sickert, and we know now it's so. When the theory starts with a hoax, I think it's fairly easy to build up a case. And my thought is that Jack the Ripper, it's sadly probably a psychopath we've never heard of. So it's not as exciting as a famous artist or heir to the throne or whatever. So no, I don't give it much credit. I know she's invested a lot of money into that research. It's interesting, but I don't buy in. The DNA evidence is rubbish. That we know. It's not my thought. We know it's rubbish. The guy that allegedly did the research published it. Then he made a mistake in nomenclature, in the genes. So the gene he had found was actually not a rare one, but a very common one. And then he's lost it. It's like, oh, now it's raining bad, I'm going. He's lost it. So it's like, like doing your homework and telling the teacher, oh, it's my dog, he's eaten it. Bear with me, we're just gonna run under the bridge because it's raining very suddenly and very bad. So I don't have time to get the umbrella. So we're going under the bridge to nowhere. You've never seen me running before, have you? Let's go. I can hear the thunderstorm as well. Right. Nearly there. should have taken something to dry everything up. Right, here. We've made it. Now, let me show you. Oh crap, I should have taken something to dry my gimbal. Anyway, here we are, under the bridge to nowhere. We used to have a canal here that went from Rotherhithe all the way down to Camberwell. So that's why there was a little bridge going up the well, over the canal really. But now, let me show you. I don't want to get wet, but I'll show you. Oh, it looks like it's stopping now. No, not fair. No. Yes, it's stopping. People are coming out of the shelter. Oh, I've run for nothing. Now, let me just put my bag on my back, because sometimes you have some dodgy people staying around here. Now, next question. And let's see. Did I finish that? Yeah, I finished the question. Favorite TV shows and movie. TV shows. Well, I don't really have favorites in terms of, shows that I would watch over and over again. I usually prefer to watch new stuff. Sometimes I think about in the 90s when we had those VHS players, and we'd be watching a movie over and over again, Now I don't really do that. But TV shows, I love pretty much anything from Sally Wainwright. She's the Yorkshire author that wrote, Gentleman Jack, but also Happy Valley, A Last Tango in Halifax. I love that. So a lot of those Yorkshire settings TV series. And thank you, Janie. That's very, very much appreciated. Right, hold on. Let me remove this one so I can see. A good purse thieves. Well, we have quite a few good ones in London. Right, and I don't think they're particularly quick though. They're just kind of mixing in the middle of the crowds, and they don't really run. But I'm not a very fast runner. Right. Next. I finished the question. Yeah, I did. Yeah. TV shows. This one. Oh, I've already done this one. I don't know why. I had a feeling I might have screenshotted one twice, and that was Linda. Oh, well, Trish as well. How did I manage that? Well, have I ever been robbed when live streaming? No, Tina. That wouldn't happen anyway, because, I suppose it could, but the robbers on a bicycle, the one that grab your phone, usually they know that I'm streaming, so they don't, they wouldn't dare, because if I'm doing a video, it doesn't matter, but if I'm streaming, you'd have their faces, you'd have the evidence, so they wouldn't go for someone filming, and also, I cannot show you the back of my phone, but I've got my phone is secondhand. I've got all the stickers at the back from CX and stuff. CX is a secondhand telephone shop. So those guys, they would know exactly what CX is, because that's probably one of the networks where they sell the stolen phones. So if they see those stickers at the back, they know it's secondhand anyway, so they know it's not the best selling items. So no, it's not happened to me. What's my tour website? Cindy is asking. I don't have a normal tour website. I've got one selling private tours in French, which I don't use much, but my sister was trying to promote my tours in French. So yeah, I don't really have a website. I'm not really good at promoting myself, so I'm not really trying to get bookings for myself. I mean, obviously, if you guys were to book me when you came to London, you can, contact my email address or anything. But I don't really have a website that I try to run to sell tours, basically. Now, I think there was one more. Oh, what's my favorite season? Summer. Absolutely sure. I don't even have to think about that for too long. Summer. And, I meet a lot of people that would say, oh, I love the rain. Oh, I love winter. I love the snow. Yes, because you work indoors. I mean, I can tell you, I work outside every day of the year. And people that work outside, you never meet a roofer or a solar panel installer or whoever is outside. You'd never meet a roofer being like, oh, I love the rain. Oh, I love it so much. Oh, I love the snow. I love the cold when I cannot feel my fingers. So I can see the charm of the snow when you kind of cocooning in a warm coffee shop and looking at it from the window. But no, because I work I'm outside all the time. I don't like winter. I don't like rain. I love the colors of autumn, but in a way, it's a bit depressing because winter is coming. So no, I prefer the warm sun, and I don't get affected by the heat. I know some people. Well, I know because sometimes during the summer, people struggle in my tours to keep up on stuff. The heat doesn't affect my energy level. Obviously, like everyone, I'm a bit sweaty, and it's not nice to be sweaty all day, but I'm not gonna be tired because it's warm. I'm still jumping around, I don't know why. Maybe because I used to live in warm locations, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Janet. You love the autumn, Tarek? Yeah, I guess the colors are very nice in the autumn. Right, I think that might have been the last one. Let me double check. Yep, I think it is. Did I, if anyone remembers asking a question on Facebook or anything, if I've skipped any, let me know. And if you have any more that we haven't covered, let me know as well. And of course, now it's not raining anymore. I can actually show you the bridge from this side because the rain has stopped. Let me turn around so you can see the bridge to nowhere. We have seen it before when we did the Old Kent Road on the Monopoly board, but let me show you. Apparently, when they drained that canal, when they drained the canal, they found a lot of knives and guns and hidden, stolen little treasures and stuff. So there we go. You see, it goes absolutely nowhere. But we've decided to keep it as a little souvenir of the canal that once stood here. Now, any last-minute question before we go? If not, thank you for coming tonight, guys. It's always a pleasure to have you along. If you want to see a bit more of me, next Tuesday, next Tuesday, we're going down to South London. We're going to Streatham and Balham. We'll get back into I'll tell you again the story of the Bravo murder case. You know what? We didn't see that question. I think it was Linda. Which murder mystery I would like to solve? You see, I did skip one. Hold on. No, I don't do any stand-up at the moment. I might get back into it one day, but the thing is, I don't have enough time. You know, it's just preparing those tours and those live stream. It's a lot of it's very time consuming. So I don't really have time to write and perform comedy at the same time, to be honest. But one day I might try to get back into it. Okay, yeah, so there was one, I think it might have been Linda, but there was a question saying which murder mystery would I, or maybe it was just Tish saying she liked it from the thumbnail. But anyway, which murder mystery I'd like to solve? Well, if we're talking about historical one from like long ago, I would say maybe the Bravo case. So if you don't remember the Bravo case, well, come next Tuesday. So we'll talk about that again. I'll take you to the Priory and to locations connected to the case in Balham. Do I know of a lesbian tour mystery historical places in London? RJ, lesbian tours, no. I know there are some LGBT tours, but lesbians only, not really. One day I'd like to take you guys to North Wales, to go to Llangollen. I could tell you the story of the ladies of Llangollen. I don't pronounce it well. I mean, I don't speak Welsh, but there's a story of Georgian love story up there, lesbian love story. But no, I don't really know any tours in London. And what was the answer? So, the Victorian or old cases, I would say the Bravo case, because it's a wood on it. You know, we know the guilty party is known to us. Well, almost for sure. As opposed to Jack the Ripper, when I'm sure that, for example, I'm sure that if we knew who the Ripper was, that'll probably be quite disappointing, you know. It's probably not the most exciting answer. If we're talking about modern ones, well, there's one that it's not a murder mystery. We know who done it, but we just don't know who they are. It's the Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès case. Is the biggest murder mystery in France. It's not a murder mystery. We know almost certainly that he's done it, but he's managed to escape. The big question is he alive? Is he dead? Has he managed to move to Texas, which is the newest theory? So if I could find out where he is, that'll be great. And if you want to hear a bit more about Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès, we already covered the story years ago at the time of Hego, when I did a tour in Nantes. But next, in a couple of weeks, we're going down to south of France, to Roquebrune-sur-Argens. That's the last French town where he was spotted on cameras and stuff. From that, we don't know where he's been. We don't know whether he's managed to go on a boat. We don't know whether he's gone to Latin America. We don't know whether he left with a gun, so we don't know whether he's gone to a cave or something to terminate himself. But anyway, that case, we'll talk about it again in a couple of weeks. I've not scheduled it quite yet, but I've just been working on the thumbnail this afternoon, so expect it to be scheduled in the next few days, really, or maybe hours even. And any last minute question before we go? Thank you for coming tonight, guys. It's always a pleasure to have so many of you along. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Oh, it's raining again. I'll see you next week in South London, in Streatham, and the week after that, I think we'll go back to Brompton Cemetery. I need to do the cemeteries in June because that's when the light is up the latest, really. And then we're going to south of France anyway. So we'll do a couple of tours on the French Riviera. Right, thank you for coming, guys. Have a great evening or a great morning, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.